Strictly speaking, that last bit wasn't. Hey guys, welcome to That Fella Show. Dan here.
Mick here, hello.
And welcome to us, completely out of our comfort zone.
Yeah, I've been instructed to look at my shoes for reasons I don't really understand. We
keep meaning to do this. Thank you for watching the show.
It's too much noise for me. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the show, and please subscribe.
Yes, please subscribe. Please subscribe.
Right.
There you go.
We've been asked on a number of times. Do you like that, Simon? Is that slick? Right. We've been asked a number of times to do a shoegaze episode, which is a genre that has basically passed us both by. One, because it was very much an UK-based phenomenon in the late 80s.
Yep.
I wasn't in the UK in the late 80s.
I was.
Right. So what's your excuse?
I was playing Stevie Ray Vaughan.
That'll do. That's the best excuse ever.
Yeah.
But it kind of it's like a late 80s, early 90s. And I've got a suspicion that as soon as Smells Like Teen Spirit released in 91,
yeah,
and that was the end of it.
I had to look it up because I had assumed that shoegaze as a genre was bands like Dinosaur Jr. and Sonic Youth and all of that, but it's not.
Right. Sonic Youth, yes.
Well,
Dinosaur Jr., no.
Okay. We shouldn't get hung up on genres, otherwise
Right.
We're going to be like all those metal kids talking about, like, insert any word here, core.
Cool. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's like gene core this week, beard core next week, nut core.
Certainly,
My Bloody Valentine.
Kevin Shields,
Yeah.
and he got some great sounds.
Yeah.
But then you've got bands like Slow Dive and the Jesus and Mary Chain and Lush were also considered shoegaze.
So what do you say, late 80s?
Late 80s.
So what
early
had
90s.
what had happened in the mid 80s? So by the late 70s, middle of the road American rock had just bored everyone to death.
Yeah.
So punk comes along and goes a new wave and says, "Get out here, you overpaid, in tune, musically tasteful people." With your lovely old guitars and your brilliant guitar sounds, you get out of here.
You get out of here.
No,
Yeah.
it was I'm being facetious, but it was a really important change in music because it was like, music is not the preserve of these
That's right.
guys. You
Yeah.
can just get a guitar and make noise, and punk was a little bit about that.
It's all expression. They were angry. They had a lot of stuff to say about.
Yeah, politically really important.
Yeah.
New wave.
And I think, as a matter of fact, I think the times we're living in now since perhaps the most fertile ground for this sort of movement since the late 70s.
Thank God.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Right, so
Hang on.
and then
Along comes. That was a French.
Flock of Seagulls. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, and Spanner Ballet and New Romantic, and there were other kinds of music. That was Aha. That was later, wasn't it?
It was 88.
Yeah. So and then through the early 80s it was pop. It was Madonna. It was everything really overproduced. So I'm assuming, and we will get away from this soon. I'm assuming that shoegaze was kind of a rejection of that. Was it? Was a rejection of poppy.
I don't know. The all the stuff that I listened to in preparation for this episode, everything is swimming in reverb. It certainly had those produced elements, but it didn't have the classic production value of those late 80s tunes.
No, it wasn't about verses and choruses and vocals all high in the mix.
It was trance rock.
Right, okay.
Very trancey. So I read this interview with Kevin Shields where he says he turned up with his Big Muff and Marshalls to this thing, and they cranked them so loud, and it just created this sound that after an hour of being just enveloped by this massive wall of noise, people were just in a trance. It's a mind-altering state that they'll get into. I thought it was really interesting. I mean,
Yeah, there was no alcohol, no drugs. There was nothing there except the Big Muff and the Marshalls, right?
Yeah.
There was nothing else
Yeah.
involved in that scene whatsoever.
No. And there was a bunch of guys trying to show, because macho was very uncool by then, so the guys were trying to show the girls how sensitive they could be and how they could be into this really.
Oh,
fancy.
really?
Yeah, I think so.
So it
I think
wasn't
that had a
like-
part of it. Exactly.
Oh, and then Guns N' Roses came along, killed it all stone dead. Is that how that
I think
happened?
Nirvana killed it stone dead.
Okay.
Guns N' Roses were. They were,
87.
yeah. They weren't. They were the pinnacle of that LA. Not even glam rock, because they were doing. What they were doing was very cool. Where we were in LA, and Owen took us to that little gig, and it's that little Owen Barry. Where's the
Owen
horn?
Barry, where's the horn gone?
there.
Owen Barry, yep. Hello, Owen.
Amazing guitar player, English guy living in LA now, playing with Tal Wilkenfeld, amazing bass player. Anyway,
And Jackson
Owen
Brown.
took us to this gig in LA, and it was this little. It was what a night! It's crazy. It's this little like a deli, like a
It was a big Jewish restaurant.
yeah, and then off the side of that was this little room,
Tiny little room.
and that room was Guns N' Roses' first gig. See, I galloped to the point there. Is that what we say? Anyway, they were kind of the pinnacle of that LA glam rock thing. But then Nirvana came, and that changed everything. I also think that was the end, or at least the beginning of the end of the whole shoegaze thing. So I am. The reason I was fascinated by this is because I really knew very little about it, and we were asked so many times.
We still know very little
We still
about
know
it.
very little about it, but
Yeah.
I did work out it was an opportunity to talk about Big Muff pedals.
Okay, finally we get there. So we'll stop generalising about musical genres now because we're clearly well out of our depth.
Yeah, we
But,
do have these.
But we've got these.
Yeah.
This one looks a bit like a sort of Strat that they went, let's put it in a Jazzmaster, obviously. New American Professional Jazzmaster.
Yes.
Thanks, Fender.
And this is a Mustang lent to me by my friend Claire Sutton from All Ears of Val. Claire, the neck pickup doesn't work in this. I'm just letting you know. It's just a bridge pickup. But yeah, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So, the last time we looked at Big Muffs.
Sorry, the law states you have to play an offset for this kind of music, by the way.
Exactly.
And if we do ever talk about Sonic Youth and Dinosaur Jr. as well, then it is the law that you have to play an offset for that kind of.
Sure. But
Okay.
anyway, let's crack on. There's 5 fuzz pedals I wanted to show you, 4 Big Muffs and one lovely old Tonebender.
What is it about fuzz pedals and entendres?
Well, it's the Big Muff.
I know, but what, you know...
Massive.
Anyway, let's just move on. Guy walks into a bar. Asks the barmaid for a double entendre, so she gives him one. Oh, come on.
Very
Come
good.
on. I'm here all week.
Very
Try the
good.
video.
No, that was great.
Anyway.
Right, okay. The amps we're using today, we're using the Marshall, our new Marshall.
Our lovely new Marshall Plexi.
Yep. And,
50 watt with an effects loop.
yes, that sounds thusly.
You've got to leave that in. You have to leave that.
Okay. Oh man, both amplifiers on together.
Really, nothing, no pedals on.
No, that's just the amps.
Whatever that is powerful.
So yeah,
Some sort of P90 by the looks of
P90.
things.
I'm guessing it's a bare knuckles because I know that. Oh, sorry, that was so funny. Anyway, I'm guessing it's a bare knuckle P90 because I know that
Yeah,
those guys like the bare knuckle
and
stuff.
it's aged.
It's aged. What? So the pickups on a Jazzmaster, are they P90s?
No. They are a single coil design, but instead of it being tall and thin,
Yes.
they're wide and fat.
Hey.
So the coil isn't very deep. The coil isn't very deep, but it's and the idea was.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, because it's called a Jazzmaster because it was designed for people to play jazz on it, and you see guys like Mickey Baker and all the jazz guys of that era playing it, going, "What the hell is this?"
Because they normally have all the fandangly.
Yeah, well,
switches.
Okay, so 1958 for anyone who doesn't know anything about Jazzmasters, which was the same year as the 335, the Flying V, the first ever Sunburst Les Paul. I mean, what a year! Imagine if you were a guitar player then and you were looking at all these things. Anyway, we digress. American Professional, it does away with all the stuff, all the switches, the make worse switches. Actually, I'm being facetious. They're tone cut switches and they just, 2 separate tone circuits, blah, blah, blah. Fender have got rid of all that on this and gone, actually, what you need is 2 pickups, 3-way selector, a volume and a tone.
Yeah, brilliant.
Hooray. And Mustang saddles, which is a common mod on Jazzmasters because the original saddles, the strings, because you don't have much of a string break angle over the bridge, they would pop out of the...
Very good.
So anyway, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, Earthquaker devices. Cloven Hoof.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Dan is a massive fan of Big Muff style pedals, of which obviously with names such as Fig Fumb, which is an anagram of Big Muff, Cloven Hoof. Pickle, what's that?
Russian Pickle, so the Russian version of the Big Muff, made by Electro-Harmonics in Russia, the big green box one that had a sound. So that's the way huge version of that.
One thing about Big Muffs, which is... If you're not really into fuzz and you get a fuzz pedal for the first time and then you go and play with the band and then you stand on the fuzz pedal and all of a sudden everything disappears, I see that Earthquaker have put a control on here that stops that from happening.
Yes.
Which is this?
Yes, the shift. So it changes the centre frequency.
Yeah, because that whole mid-scoop thing is a really important part of the muff sound, isn't it?
Not only that, it's a very important part of the shoegaze sound for the main reason that all these bands have a lilty vocal style.
I don't want to be the singer, you be the singer.
I
don't want to be the singer, you be the singer.
That's the lyrics of a very famous shoegaze song. So, there's no one there going...
We're going to get so panned for this.
There's no one there going, yeah, giving it the beans.
Yeah.
They're really... back and, this sort of ethereal
Do that
vocals.
pedal, Charles. Have you know that Dave Smith from My Stinking Arm Stump was a really belting singer?
Yeah. The thing why the Big Muff works so well, because you get this massive wall of sound, but with that scoop mids thing, you can have these lilter vocals over the top of that, and there's a chance that you'll still hear them. Listen to I was listening to a slow dive track yesterday. It's crazy massive guitars, and then she just starts humming away, and it's almost like she's half whispering, humming into the microphone. But because of those frequencies aren't there in the guitar sounds, it still works. It would have been really interested to hear how it worked live. The sound must have been amazing, because I know the guitars generally were very loud.
Yeah. Point the amps away from the vocal mic
to
stop the spill. Okay, right. So that's what that is basically.
So you ever play it? So it sounds great, but the one thing that all the guitar sounds had with this thing is reverb. So if I play that same thing and we put a little bit of modulated reverb from the New Neighbour on. You've nailed that.
You can get lost.
Yeah. That's the whole trance thing.
Yeah.
You know, imagine that. Imagine a room of like-minded unwashed and this massive, that sound really, really loud for hours and hours. Okay, that's the glow.
To be fair, I was looking at pictures of My Bloody Valentine, thinking that because of that collapse of genres all very quickly at that time, and getting mixed up between who was who and all the rest of it, I would say Pearl Jam, obviously a bit later, had fewer showers than My Bloody Valentine.
Fair enough. They did like their flannel.
Judging by the hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving gracefully along to the
like a broken greyhound.
to the Russian Pickle. So this is the way Huge, again George Tripp's designed version of the Russian Big Muff. Awesome sounding thing. So you have shown on this.
That sounds like a Big Muff to me. What was the difference between a Russian one and a normal one?
Crap components. Seriously, if you ever get the chance to have a look inside a Russian-made Big Muff, it's amazing. It's the same design, but just the components they were using, awful. But now there's certain components in there that are classic,
right?
That are worth a fortune because it made that
sound.
It
made the sound, yeah.
Again, it's a massive thing. Now, the great thing about this is the tone control. So it sweeps again. So
And how does that compare to the Cloven Hoof? Just so I get me bearings.
So yeah, instantly you hear that this has got that more the scoopy.
Yeah.
Just that's the Caverns reverb by Keeley. It's got the modulated reverb. It's very cool and just sort of suits that style. So love the Russian Pickle for that sound. You know, it's very simple, sounds awesome. Unlike the next one that I had to show you. This is the Royal Beaver by Big Tone Music Brewery. Now, we had this guy come into the office getting a pedal board done, and he dropped this off. He says, "Oh, Dan, you need to have a play with this. It's the best sounding Big Muff I've ever heard." And I went, "Okay, I'll have a play." And by Joe's if he wasn't right. So this, we're talking before, the classic Big Muffs that we all know and love basically have 2 transistors. This has 3, but you can turn each transistor on and off, and you can control the voltage gain and bias of each transistor, right? Then you can choose if it's going to be scoop, flat, mids, or just wide open, like the tone wicker Big Muff that turns the tone stack off completely.
Yeah. Oh, is that what it does?
Yep. So let me show you. If I have one transistor on,
Okay.
right?
I will play while he's demoing, and then he can play, and I'll have a fiddle.
Okay.
'Cause I'm running out of power chords.
So that's 2 transistors in, but now I throw the 3rd transistor in.
Just small amount of background noise there.
So I did have the gain cranked. But I love that. I love that it's put the transistors on separate controls that you can really get in.
It's really, really, really cool. Really cool.
See, you look at it, you think, oh, that's complicated. Actual fact, it really isn't.
Did you go through the scoop business?
No, I didn't. So here is the scoop tone.
You have a go. And try and play something more interesting.
with those bias controls, you can get it almost gated.
Yeah, that's what.
It's so cool.
You good?
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah, quite often when sometimes we'll be discussing, I don't know, fuzz faces, and someone will say, "What's the difference between the Eric Johnson silicon fuzz and some other kind of silicon fuzz?" And a fair bit of it is how
How the transistors are biased.
Exactly.
Definitely, it's awesome.
And if you hear the term kind of spitty, that's what I was doing when it was all sounding broken and like we should send it back, which of course is a whole thing. People love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
That is
special, isn't it?
a fuzz tweaker's delight.
Yeah, yeah, it's awesome. Right, moving on to the Stone Deaf Fig Fumb. Luke was kind enough to send us out, and it's also sent us out the Cliptonite, which is the clip amp version pedal. Oh, it's so special.
Stone Deaf, very cool. Small company from England, from the north of England. I guess the PDF one was the first Stone Deaf pedal I heard of, which is a parametric distortion filter, and they always had a really unique take on that mid-range thing. So you could, one of the great points was about how it sits in the mix.
Right.
So you could really radically change that mid-range response. And of course, I think Josh Homme started using one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, a couple of really key guys, and that was really helped to put those guys on the map. But these days, they still make the PDF one as far as I'm aware, and a lot of cool other stuff. Bit of background on Stone Deaf.
Very good. Well, they've sent us, we had the Trematron in last week's video, and we're going to do a tremolo episode, which we'll put that in. But he's making some really, really cool things. The Trematron is
different.
Is brilliant. It just...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different take on it, which I love. So this is the Fig Fumb. That's a noise gate?
Yeah, I know. Massive.
Such a great sound.
So, okay, so the top right knob there is all about mids, right? So from Scoopy to...
The top right knob, So this is the parametric EQ.
Yep.
Okay. So we've got, this is the frequency here, and this is where the cut or boosting it.
Oh, okay.
So if we've got in the sort of between the mids and high here, I can cut it as we're playing here. We have a bandwidth control here, so you can go from, at the moment it's thin, which I think is, when it says thin, I just think it's more mid-scooped. I think that's like a mid-range, because at the moment, that's on thin, and it's massive. If I move it over here.
Before, when I was changing it when you were playing, it was making a noise.
Yeah.
I guess that's because it's
if you're playing through it and you're changing it, it sort of disconnects and then reconnects and goes pop.
Okay,
so,
yep. Okay, so go through the...
So this is from the fattest.
You turn it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Just try that on some different strings a sec.
That sounds mega. Right. I keep throwing the reverb on there just to give it that, shoegazy context. But how awesome does that sound?
It really does.
Yeah.
And again, a bit like, kind of like the way this control was working on the Cloven Hoof and all the crazy mental stuff in that. You can really get it to where you want it.
Yeah.
In terms of cut or not.
Yep. It's very cool. Very cool.
Extremely cool.
Yeah.
The gate's interesting as well. As regular viewers of the show will know, Dan and I are not huge fans of gates because we don't tend to use sounds that need them. But that, I'm not playing that going, oh my god, there's a gate on it.
Yeah. It's designed specifically for that pedal.
Yeah.
It's the same way that that James Brown from Amp Tweaker designs gates into his high gain stuff. Yeah. It's a gate designed specifically to work with the gain in that pedal. So you've got a much better chance of making that, work properly as opposed to an all singing or dancing one.
Turn it on a sec. It's pretty good.
It's great.
Yeah, no, it doesn't impede.
Now I'm a little bit. There's such a wall of noise here that it sounds mega, and I've taken a battering, and then hearing that I'm like, oh, it's just so good. I'm entering into that trance-like state. Right, finally, I just wanted to bring this out as well. Like I was saying, a lot of it was about the fuzz. This is an old Tonebender, but check this out. So this is from 1974.
And this is not based on a Big Muff,
This is not based on a Big Muff, but this circuit is actually closer to a Big Muff than any other Tonebender circuit.
Right.
Check this out.
Not much in it between the Russian pickle and the...
No, there's a little bit more fizz in the Russian pickle, but that's nice. But I do like the old... 1974. Lovely. Very good. Right.
What have we learned?
Learned that I like Big Muffs.
Yeah.
That it's very interesting because of the Marshall, actually. Because I've seeing the Marshalls and all the footage of these guys playing them, and we all know Marshalls and Big Muffs sound great, but we got it. It's not quiet. There's quite a bit of sound pressure level going on here. And actually, when you get that scoopy Big Muff sound going, because I've never really connected with a scooped Big Muff sound, purely because in the band context, it's very difficult to make that cut. However, when you're talking about this genre of music, I totally get it now.
You would... The scoopy thing, you just can't have, can you? You can't sing over it.
No.
Sorry.
The mid...
Without the scoop, you can't sing over it.
Yeah.
You need the
Certainly
scoop.
not in this style.
Yeah.
But, actually being around that big wall of sound for this long, and I'm feeling it.
Mm. You do get a bit lost. I mean, even I was getting a bit lost there. But okay, so give me no pedals a minute, and we'll show you the transients of how loud it is in here.
All right, this is no pedals.
That's loud.
That's loud.
By anyone's stretch of the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Stick the Tonebender on, can you? Loud.
But good. It's so good. Yeah. Totally get it. Totally get it. Raw Beaver and Fig Fumb, for me, I just think sound epic. And actually, to be fair, they all sound great.
They do.
There's not a duff one in the bunch. I know we say that a lot, but to be honest, there is no excuse today to make a duff pedal. It's
pretty clear to me. You could, if you want to spend the money and buy vintage the Tonebender, obviously if you can find one. Lots of modern clones made. That's a different thing, so we'll stick that in a different category. If you want just a simple, great, ordinary, straight head, Big Muff sound that you don't really have to think about, the pickle, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Hoof adds that all-important, do you want it more scoopy or do you want it more prominent? And it does that really successfully.
Yep.
And then the other two, obviously you're into Tweaker's Paradise,
That's I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
One thing I think is particularly brilliant about the Fig Fumb is that if you were tracking guitars, recording, you can get it exactly where you need it.
Yeah.
Really thin and
Yes,
kind of
yeah, with that parametric EQ going on.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, really. It's funny. What was I listening to the other day? Of all things, Brad Paisley. Never knowingly a shoegazer.
I was going to say, I love that Brad gets a mention in the Shoegazer
Yeah.
episode.
No. But literally never knowingly a shoegazer. But if you listen to a track called "The World" by Brad Paisley, so it kicks off one of his records. It starts off with this really cocteau fuzz guitar sound that sits underneath the vocal pretty much all the way through.
Wow.
And it's the kind of guitar sound that you'd go, that's an awful guitar sound. But it works brilliantly in the context of the track. And I think the Fig Fumb offers you a way into that world of just getting a slice of fuzz guitar and just sticking it wherever you want.
Yeah, totally.
Which, of course, you couldn't do with the Tonebender or the Pickle or the Hoof.
Yeah.
As successfully.
But even the Royal Beaver, that's about gain structure and everything within the transistors, whereas that's a parametric EQ.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. Just have all of them.
Yeah. Well, so for all you guys who are really, really into your fuzz, you do, don't you? I mean, they just
absolutely.
It's like us with overdrive pedals.
Yeah.
You got 20 different overdrive pedals, which to a non-overdrive pedal fan, they all sound the same.
Yeah. No, very special.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed that.
Yeah. I don't think we actually got away with the shoegaze thing, to be fair.
We had to go. We took a request. We got out of our comfort zone.
Yeah, and no offense to anybody either, by the way. It's.
I found it really interesting.
Yeah.
With that, because the whole trance thing, that Kevin Shields interview he was going on about, being around that sound for this long, I thought I get that now. So before we go, a big thank you to everyone that's gone to our website and bought a T-shirt at thatpedalshowstore.com. Very nice.
Or many of the other items that we have for sale there.
Also, sorry, I
was trying to remember. There's some plectrums, there's
beanies and cups and
some other things. Yeah, some things.
Also, to all the patrons from Patreon, thank you so much, guys. It's really awesome. And to our preferred retailers.
In the US, that would be Riff City Music.
Hey Joe.
Sorry, every time. One day the Hendrix estate will sue us. Hello Joe and Alan, everyone at Riff City, thank you very much. Anderton's Music in Guildford for the UK and Europe, and our new exclusive preferred retailer in Australia, which is Matt at
Pedal Empire.
pedalempire.com.au. I can only remember so much information.
Yeah,
and
Matt
that
Harris
hasn't quite gone in yet.
Yeah, great guy in Brisbane.
Where Dan's from?
Queenslander.
That means something.
That means something to the Queenslanders. Don't worry. Yeah. It means something to the Queenslanders.
Yeah. That's not a knife. What?
Brilliant. Okay. Thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Okay,
cheers,
bye.
guys. Bye.